We're going to talk about multiplying decimals. And if you haven't learned this by now, I show you one method that will always work. If you have another way that works for you that is mathematically sound, that is totally fine. I need you to show that you know how to multiply decimals. That's it. We need to have it so it works for you. So this way works for many students. Some students say, oh, it's too much work. Some students say, oh my gosh, this is great. I've never been able to multiply decimals reliably. So you do what's best for you. If this method isn't for you, then you find a way that works. But if you're having trouble, try learning this method. So we're going to talk about multiplying two decimals. So if I have two decimals, let's say 3.21 times 1.4. I need to count how many decimal places I have in all. So I call that DPIA, decimal places in all. And I have 1, 2 in the first number, and 1 in the third. 2 plus 1 is 3. So there are 3 decimal places in all. And then I ignore my decimal place until the end of the problem. So I'm actually going to multiply these, 321 times 14. When I said I ignore the decimal places, till the end, I wasn't kidding. I don't even write them. And so I'm going to multiply these. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. Then I put a placeholder. Some people put 0. Some people put nothing. Some people put scribbles like I do. And 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. And then we add these together. We get 4, 9, 4, and 4. And clearly the answer is not 4,494 because we know that this is about 3 times 1, or maybe 3 times 2. And 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6. So we know the answer is going to be between 3 and 6, someplace in there. So we can already guess where our decimal place is going to go. But the really cool thing is I take this decimal places in all, and magically I turn it into decimal places in answer. And so decimal places in answer tells me that my DPIA, my decimal places in answer, should be 3. And if I put my decimal point there, that gives me 3 decimal places in my answer. So I've got 3 decimal places in the question, and then 3 decimal places in the answer. And this works out wonderfully. Let's take a look at another example. So how about negative 11.3 times 7.1. Oh no, these have different signs. Well, remember the whole, if they're the same sign, then they're positive when you multiply any number, or they're different signs and you multiply any number, they're negative. So we know our answer is going to be negative, so we actually don't even need to worry about our sign right now. We just need to remember to look at that at the very end. So here our DPIA is 2, because we've got 1 in the first one, 1 in the second one. We just do 113 times 71, and that's 113, placeholder, 21, 7, that's 9, then that's 7, and then we get 3208, and we look, our answer should be about 77, because 11 times 7 is 77. And so we can guess where our decimal point is going to go. But let's take a look. DPIA should equal 2. So we put our decimal point there, and that matches our about 77, 80.23, and that's our answer. And now we need to check one more thing. Who remembers what one more thing we need to check? We need to check to see if it's positive or negative. And since they're different signs, the answer is negative 80.23. And that is how you multiply two decimals.